how people feel your energy. Others can sense the way you feel about yourself. When you fully accept who you are, that acceptance radiates from your body, letting everyone around you know you're comfortable in your own skin. Now, imagine carrying an energy that depends on what other people think. One that says, "I'll only feel confident or validated if you approve of me." Subconsciously, you project that need onto them, and they feel pressure to meet your unspoken expectations. In essence, this becomes a way of trying to manage and control your reality. By gaining their validation, you hope to close an emotional loop from childhood. That loop typically starts with early life tension or drama in the household, which instills the belief that something is inherently wrong with you and that you must tailor yourself to others to feel worthy. However, genuine confidence comes from staying grounded in your own energy and frame of reality, without expecting anything from those around you. Of course, it's nice to be accepted, but the moment you stop needing others' approval is precisely when your energy becomes most magnetic. The energy you emanate. Have you ever sensed that people pick up on how you feel about yourself even before you speak a single word? And isn't it amazing how quickly people respond to subtle shifts in your energy? This is where it gets crazy. Your energy precedes you. If you carry yourself with self-acceptance, people feel it. If, on the other hand, you're always craving approval, they sense that too. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about deeply embracing who you are, so others naturally match that vibration. When you become comfortable in your own skin, you don't have to work so hard to be seen. Instead, you radiate an effortless magnetism that others can't ignore. This is the very essence of "they'll chase you when you detach." Your detachment from external validation frees you to authentically stand out. And that authenticity is what calls everything in: opportunities, relationships, and abundance. The secret to true confidence. Are you ready to discover the simplest yet most overlooked key to unshakable self-belief? Here is where it gets even more interesting. True confidence has little to do with external achievements or approval. It's about standing solidly in your own frame of reality. Most of us, at some level, have believed we need others' permission to feel worthy. But that belief is a remnant of childhood conditioning. When external figures, parents, teachers, caregivers, held so much influence over our sense of self. Real confidence starts inside. If you accept yourself fully, this acceptance radiates outward. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're good enough, because you already know it. Ironically, the less you chase validation, the more it comes to you. This principle is so powerful that entire lives change when people finally understand that confidence is about self-ownership, not about playing a part to impress someone else. Why you seek external validation? Do you ever catch yourself yearning for someone else's thumbs up to feel good about what you're doing? And have you noticed that no matter how many compliments or affirmations you get, it's never enough if you don't believe in yourself deep down? This is where it gets eye-opening. Often, we chase external validation because we're still closing an emotional loop from our childhood. Maybe we grew up in a stressful or tense environment, and we internalized the belief that we're not good enough unless someone else tells us we are. When you constantly scan the room for approval, you're essentially trying to control reality. You're hoping that if you can get people to like you or validate you, you can finally relax. But it never works because the emptiness you feel isn't solved by someone else's reassurance. It's only resolved by your own self-acceptance. How childhood shapes your frame. Ever felt like certain situations trigger you so intensely you wonder if there's something deeper going on? And have you thought about how your upbringing molded not just your personality, but also your sense of safety in the world? This is where it gets truly personal. If you grew up in a home with conflicts or tension, you might have learned to tune yourself to other people's moods. You had to watch what you said, how you acted, just to maintain peace or win approval. That pattern, once ingrained, can last a lifetime if unexamined. Your frame of reality, how you see yourself and your place in the world, was shaped by those early experiences. But here's the good news. That frame can be transformed. When you heal that inner child, recognize your own needs, and stop contorting yourself for others, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, people feel it immediately. Stop controlling reality and take back your power. Have you ever tried so hard to make things work? Relationships, jobs, friendships, only to realize that the more you force them, the more they slip away. This is where it gets crazy empowering. Letting go of control is paradoxically how you take back your power. When you're no longer desperate for validation or approval, you free yourself from the need to micromanage every outcome. Acceptance of yourself is the first step. The second step is living by your own values. This means you put your internal compass above what everyone else thinks. In doing so, you stop projecting your unmet needs onto others. You end the cycle of disappointment and frustration because you no longer hinge your well-being on external responses. Confidence comes from owning your frame. Have you noticed that some people command a room without raising their voices or doing anything attention-seeking? How do they manage to sway conversations without any visible effort? This is where it gets revealing. The person with the strongest frame of reality sets the tone. They're clear about who they are and what they stand for, and they're not rattled when someone else disagrees. When you own your frame, you show the world how you deserve to be treated. People sense that you're not here to bend over backward for their approval, and ironically, that's exactly what makes you more intriguing. You become the calm in the storm, the person who stands firm while everyone else is buffeted by the winds of opinion. What happens when you hold your frame? Have you ever backed down from an argument or a boundary because you thought it would make life easier, only to feel terrible afterward? And how often have you regretted not speaking your truth? This is where it gets really transformative. When you hold your frame, even when someone disagrees, even when it's uncomfortable, you teach yourself that your feelings and values matter. Yes, tension can arise. People might question you, challenge you, or even push you away. But as long as you're not attached to their approval, that discomfort doesn't destabilize you. Instead, it dissolves, and you find yourself more grounded than ever. You learn that conflict isn't necessarily scary. It's a chance to affirm who you really are. How disagreements reveal your triggers. Have you noticed how disagreements often show you your most sensitive emotional triggers? And doesn't it seem that certain people or situations keep hitting the same nerve? This is where it gets illuminating. Triggers are signals that there's something unhealed within us, something rooted in our past. When you learn to observe the discomfort in your body during a disagreement, you can trace it back to a time you felt rejected or invalidated. This process isn't always easy. It can bring up old memories and emotions you'd rather forget. But by honoring these feelings, you release them. You learn that their reaction has nothing to do with your worth. It's simply a pattern. And once you break the pattern, you're free. Why people abandon you? The truth. Have you ever been left by someone you cared about and wondered, what's wrong with me? And have you ever realized that sometimes you weren't truly present in that relationship anyway, because you'd already abandoned yourself? This is where it gets raw. We often abandon ourselves first by betraying our own wants and needs. We pretend to be someone else to keep the peace or to maintain another person's affection. When you abandon yourself, it sends out a vibration of unworthiness. Others unconsciously pick up on it, and that dynamic often leads to them leaving. It can be painful, but it's also a wake-up call. The truth is, when you start choosing you, expressing what you want, speaking your truth, and respecting your boundaries, you attract people who align with your authenticity. Healing the abandonment wound. Have you ever thought about how deeply these early feelings of abandonment can shape your adult life? And isn't it surprising how one heartbreak can echo an old childhood wound you thought you were over? This is where it gets intensely healing. Healing the abandonment wound starts with awareness. You recognize the voice of that inner child who didn't feel seen or cherished. This is different for everyone. Some people work through it with therapy or coaching. Some use meditation or journaling, and others practice self-reassurance every day. Great masters and spiritual teachers say the path is unique for each person. No matter how you do it, the key is showing up for your inner child and promising never to abandon them again. You'll notice that with time, this self-commitment changes everything. If you resonate with the message in this video, write yes in the comments. How to stop abandoning yourself. Have you ever caught yourself saying yes when every fiber of your being wanted to shout no? And how many times have you gone along with someone else's plans only to resent them, or worse, yourself afterwards? This is where it gets life-changing. Stopping this pattern requires a daily commitment to honesty. You learn to check in with your body. Does this feel right, or does this feel forced? Sometimes it's as simple as politely declining an invitation. Other times it's as complex as rethinking a relationship. The more you align your outward actions with your true feelings, the less you'll abandon yourself. And when you stop abandoning yourself, your world transforms. You'll watch as people who don't respect this new you fall away, and those who truly value you step closer. The frame technique explained. Have you ever struggled to feel safe in your own body, especially around certain people? And have you considered that a simple meditation could radically shift how you hold your space? This is where it gets incredibly practical. The frame technique is an exercise that helps you feel the separation between yourself and the external world. By focusing on a candle flame and practicing a specific breathing pattern, you become aware of where you end and where others begin. On your inhale, you feel the self, your essence, separate from everything else. On your exhale, You soften your gaze to include the peripheral space around you. This practice rewires your nervous system to recognize, this is my energy, and that is yours. You can even imagine someone you find challenging. Breathe in your own energy, then exhale and see them as separate. Over time, you no longer get pulled into their frame because you're solidly rooted in your own. How this technique can transform your life. Observe if certain situations drain you more than others. Notice how this often occurs around individuals who possess strong personalities or powerful energetic frames. Recognize that one might be unconsciously absorbing these external emotional states, feeling pressure to measure up or prove something in the presence of success or influence. By consistently practicing a simple candle flame focus, learn to cultivate a sense of safety within your own being. This practice prevents merging with others' emotions or expectations and dissolves any compulsion to justify every decision. Trusting one's own presence and values means there is no longer a need to explain or defend. How to say no and own your energy. Notice how saying no without lengthy explanations is a potent expression of self-respect. Experience the liberation of stating no, thank you, and moving forward without guilt. Understand that when self-abandonment ceases, there is no obligation to excuse or rationalize personal boundaries. Yes, it may feel awkward initially. One might feel tempted to lie or fabricate reasons. Yet the purest approach is to calmly state, no, I won't be able to make it, or I am focused on something else right now. Over time, exercising the right to decline what does not serve personal well-being strengthens individual energy and self-empowerment. Vulnerability versus validation. Reflect on whether it is better to be superficially liked or genuinely respected. Observe how, by releasing the habit of people-pleasing, respect is gained from others, and more importantly, from oneself. Vulnerability involves choosing honesty about feelings and experiences, even if it risks disapproval. Validation, on the other hand, is the pursuit of that fleeting high of outside approval. Although being vulnerable can seem intimidating, it fosters deeper connections. Authenticity naturally attracts those who value and celebrate the true self, not a facade. Why you lose people when you change? Recognize that when personal growth accelerates, when stepping into a higher sense of self, certain friends or acquaintances may drift away. This might create doubt about one's progress. Yet understand that growth and detachment can feel threatening to those who found comfort in an older version of you. They may respond by distancing themselves or reacting negatively. Accept this with peace, for it clears space for individuals who resonate with the new vibration. While some relationships may fade, the ones that remain or enter your life will be grounded in mutual respect and genuine connection. How confidence is built through repetition. Consider whether confidence is a gift bestowed at birth or a quality developed over time. Realize that confidence is often the result of consistently showing up for oneself. Each time you speak your truth, create something new, or challenge your comfort zone, you reinforce the identity of being confident. Initially, the act of sharing creations or hosting events may feel uncomfortable or uncertain. Yet through repetition, day after day, one begins to believe, this is who I am, until it solidifies into a confident reality. why people feel your energy more than your words. Have you noticed that people often remember how you made them feel more than what you said? And isn't it fascinating how they pick up on subtle cues and emotional states that even you might not notice? This is where it gets profound. Your vibe, your resonance, your presence, these transcend words. If you truly believe in what you're saying, others sense it. If you're hesitant or doubtful, they sense that too, regardless of the words you choose. When you trust your own authenticity, it resonates. It's why people who share their story from the heart captivate us. We respond to honesty, alignment, and courage. That's the power of being real. The power of trusting the unknown. Have you ever stepped on stage, started a new job, or entered a new relationship without knowing how it would all turn out? And did you ever notice how that initial fear can quickly turn into exhilaration once you accept the uncertainty? This is where it gets fascinatingly transformative. Trusting the unknown doesn't mean you won't have doubts. It means you move forward anyway. As you lean into faith, whether it's faith in a higher power, universal energy, or simply in yourself, you access an expanded state of consciousness. In that state, answers seem to appear right when you need them. You stop forcing outcomes and start welcoming them. If you like the video, click on thumbs up. That shows me your appreciation and will also push the video to more people. Integrating the confident version of you. Have you ever felt that subtle shift when you make a new choice? Like deciding to speak openly or stand your ground and realized, I can never go back. And did you notice how liberating it feels to integrate this new, confident version of you into everyday life? This is where it gets unforgettably powerful. Each time you honor yourself, you merge with a more authentic identity. It might not happen overnight. You may wobble between the old you who seeks constant validation and the new you who stands tall in self-acceptance. That's normal. But with consistent practice, saying no when you need to, holding your frame in disagreements, respecting your own boundaries, you embody that solid magnetic energy people can't help but notice. This is why, when you detach, they chase you. You attract everything because you finally become the version of you who doesn't need anything from the outside to feel complete. Here's the beautiful takeaway. Yes, the awakening process can be challenging, and yes, everyone's path will look different, just as the masters say. But the universal truth remains. Detachment from external validation is what makes you truly magnetic. When you stop abandoning yourself, others can't help but be drawn to you. They'll chase you when you detach, and you'll attract everything you've been waiting for, not by chasing it, but by finally allowing yourself to receive. May you walk forward with renewed confidence, trusting that your energy is already enough. You don't have to chase, you only have to become. And in becoming, you'll see just how naturally people and opportunities begin chasing you. That's where it gets really incredible. Enjoy the journey